Hey, I'm GXX Shocked and we're on day 3 of Gamescom 2012. And with me is EG's DeMusliM. How are you doing today?
Pretty well so far.
You had some pretty nice games yesterday. It was some pretty close games as well. Can you describe some of the games?
Initially I'll talk about my TVT. I was not prepared for the current Korean TVT metagame. They play extremely aggressive, and I had my priorities wrong in order, what I wanted to get. I tried to get medevacs faster. I should have been slower on Marines and played safer. And it's a matchup that I want to work on, and I've already scheduled practice with Cass and Lucifer from once I'm back home. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of those problems. As for TVZ, against Nurture, I was really happy with how I played. There was one game where I lost where I shouldn't have, but I think I showed how confident I was by dancing Marines and stuff, like in the middle of a fight as it was happening. TVZ is my favorite matchup right now. A lot of Terrans said it was very hard, and I was one of them. TVZ's been a very hard matchup, but Terrans are beginning to get the grasp of how it goes, and yeah, I'm finding it a lot of fun. Against Sordov, we were 1-1, and I chose to do a build which was 2 Rex on Antone Valley, which it was far too predictable. But my build initially, I was doing it every game, so I wanted to mix it up, and it didn't work out. I just fell behind. He made the correct prediction, and I lost. So that sucked really bad. But today I got to play sort of again on Antone Valley with a strategy that I would have played normally, and yeah, I did what I intended to do yesterday. But yeah, and against Inori, wow, I completely forgot about him. He beat both the other Korean Terrans very easily, and so I was kind of nervous, but yeah, my TVP's also becoming one of my, I'm becoming a more well-rounded player now. TVT, even on the foreign scene, I do pretty well, but yeah, apparently against Koreans it doesn't work out. But against Inori, I just, first game I went for a 2-Rax build, which was Tech Lab Reactor, which it's kind of went out of fashion, but it still works against a lot of Protoss, which he didn't expect and lost in 5 minutes. Second game he went for a 2-base all-in, and I just dropped his main and killed it. So very standard, very easy. But yeah, I still need to keep on working. I've been practicing for 10 hours a day, every day for the last 3 weeks, and it's paying off, but I obviously need to keep on working harder.
You said that you're going to show other Terrans the new TVZ style. What exactly is the special ingredient to your TVZ? Well, I alone, I guess I can't take full credit. I was starting to learn what I had to do, which is, the key ingredient is a lot of orbitals and a lot of barracks for reproduction and 3 factories. A lot of people forget 3 factories, but I kind of worked this out as I was going along. I took a lot of people's builds, like Pulse from a few months ago where he went 3 factories against every Zerg in an old patch, which I took that on board. And recently I saw Tasia do a build where he's very greedy, but he could still kind of hold all-ins, and despite losing 20 workers, because if you're against a Roachbane all-in, you're going to lose something no matter what. So a lot of Terrans were trying to think about how to hold it best, but the real thing is you're going to take damage, so it's best to just out-greed it. So for afterwards, you're still in a good situation. So with that in mind, I've just been playing the greediest games of my life, but also safely. That's a real key ingredient. A lot of Terrans will only have 1 or 2 Marines about. I have 4. I've started playing Zerg myself, and so I know the strengths and weaknesses. That's a real big, that's a key factor for me. I've been able to beat really high-level Korean Terrans and such, 4GG with my Zerg, and I'm starting to get a grasp of it from both sides, and that's really helping me. But yeah, I mean, also, oh yeah, a lot of barracks. If you're producing 18 Marines at a time, if you lose your army, it's not game over anymore. A lot of Terrans were stopping at 6 barracks and thinking that was fine, but I don't stop until I'm at 15 or something. How has Torzane settled in the EG Lair?
I actually haven't been in the EG Lair since he's been in there, but I mean, last time he stayed, we had a lot of fun. I learned a lot from him, and I hope he learned a lot from me. Before he came, I struggled a lot on TVP, and now it's become one of my better matchups, and we actually share a lot of advice. After I lose a tournament, he tells me why he thinks I lost. If he loses something, I tell him why I think he lost. And
even though like the other one might think the other one's wrong, you still have to kind of like take what they're saying as pretty valid, you know, like pretty factual. Like if it's an opinion, of course everybody can be wrong, but we've been kind of like teaching each other. Like we both have very different styles. He's a more passive kind of guy, I'm a more aggressive kind of guy, but we've been taking like the good points from each other and kind of like telling each other about the bad points and just removing them slowly. And yeah, I think like having him on board, and if we can get together to a point where we're either both in Korea at the same time or both in the EG Lair at the same time, I see us both like rapidly improving together.
So you do a lot of custom together, and how would you handle it if you face him in a tournament and you kind of shared your secrets, you know his?
Well, yeah, we've custom against each other. I haven't customed against him in a while, given that he's been in a different continent to me every time, but yeah, I want to practice against him a lot. He's one of the best, if not the best, foreign Terran going, and I have a lot to learn from him, as he does me. More so me, him, maybe. But yeah, he's a lovely guy. If we played in a tournament, you know, gentlemen Terrans aside, you know, you do what you can to win. Obviously that doesn't mean cheating or anything, but it does mean a bit of sly play if you believe you can get away with it. So yeah, like anything goes if I play against him in a tournament.
Okay, so the last time you were in the EG Lair, who do you think was training the hardest?
The last time I was in the Lair, I was playing literally up to like 12 hours a day streaming. So
it was you?
Like, yeah, I mean, but for that last week, Machine always trains hard, and like all the players pretty much play more than any other player out there, you know. Idra always plays a lot. Yeah, I mean, for a while I was kind of like, in fact, everybody plays a lot, but for the last week I was there, I played the most along with Bryce and Greg.
So some people have been saying that the Lair might be holding people back, like because of the luxury you get. Do you think that's true, or?
If that was a reason for holding people back, like because you now feel secure and stuff, like I kind of think of it differently. I think of it, I'm in this environment where, sure, it's a lovely environment to be in, but this could slip away at any point if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, and so that in itself is a motivating factor. Like I've went through like a huge mental, like, I won't say a relapse or anything, but I went through like a huge mental I don't know the word, but I've been inspired, so to speak. I started streaming more, I started practicing more. I'm not getting any younger. I'm by no means an old player, but I realize I have so much to give, and I realize by not doing that, I'm letting this slip away. And yeah, as soon as I'm back in the Lair, like, I'm going to make the most of the experience. People saying it's holding them back. EG has a lot of love, but with a lot of love, there's a lot of attention. You're obviously going to get a lot of haters. People are going to make up things like where they don't really have a solid opinion based on anything apart from hatred. Let's say Idra doesn't do well for a tournament. If we look at what he did when he was in the Lair, he went to Asus, he owned Asus, he went to IEM China, he literally, like, he beat Revival, then he beat Puma, and then he beat Elfie in the final. I mean, his win was kind of like, it wasn't as legitimate as it should have been because Elfie was in the final, but he literally, like, yeah, I mean, I am discrediting Elfie a little bit, but considering the players that he went through, then having Elfie in the final, it wasn't quite the like big splash that he wanted, you know. So yeah, I mean, the Lair doesn't hurt. If you look at, like, Stefano came to stay in the Lair for like a week or 2 weeks actually, and then went to MLG, and he came like top 6, I believe, but MLG is really hard, and he didn't do half as well the previous one. While I can big up the EG Lair as much as I want, the results are going to speak for themselves eventually. And yeah, we're going to do a lot with it. I don't believe it's holding anybody back.
Speaking of Stefano, have you heard the rumors? Of course you have. Care to say anything?
I've seen the rumors, but I have nothing to say about it, really.
Okay. The beta for Heart of the Swarm is coming pretty soon. Are you excited? What's your most favorite new unit now?
I'm excited and anxious. Blizzard releasing StarCraft 2, there was obviously a lot of speed bumps. Luckily, they were pretty fast to react on what was wrong. But recently they've been a little sluggish. No disrespect to Blizzard, but and I mean that's their method. They want to see things settle before they pounce on it, which, you know, there's two ways to go about it, and it seems to be working out. It's just a while you have to go through these very dark patches. But introducing literally 7 or 8 new units into the game, it's going to be a pretty wild experience. For good or for bad, I don't know yet. As for my favorite units, I love the Battle Hellion. I think that's a really cool addition. Hellions are really good as they are right now, but the fact that they have more utility from this point forward is pretty cool. And remote mines are cool. I'm a Terran player, obviously, so I love those units. But there's a few things I'm worried about. There's things like force fields, which they've turned out to be like a good part of the game, I guess. But there's a lot of things that are being implemented into the game that remove a lot of the skill. By that I mean the Viper. Position is obviously a huge factor of how good you can be. That can be the difference between being excellent and just mediocre if you're a good positional player. And things like the Viper, making position not matter quite as much. Let's say if you got a Thor position perfectly or a few tanks, and then they're no longer there, they're in another location or dead. I don't really like that. It's the same with force fields. If you were in a certain location that's bad, you can then make it a good one, like at the flick of a button, or a few buttons in this case. That's a few things I'm kind of worried about. And like remote mines, if you can just dot a few mines around the map and just kind of leave it, you don't have to look at your minimap for a while, and it's just going to like blow up a Banshee. There's a few ways that this could go, and luckily Blizzard is an awesome company, and I believe they are going to do their best, but I do have my hesitation.
So I've been asking some of the other pros, do you hope for smaller micro-based engagements, or these large 200 army battles? I mean, with Heart of the Swarm, do you think it will change to more of a Brute War style game?
That's a tough question. I don't believe anybody can truly answer that, like not even Blizzard themselves, given that when they first released StarCraft 2, did they intend for it to be like it is? No.
Do you hope for it?
Do I hope for it?
I mean, you're an aggressive player, so it might suit your style more.
It would probably benefit me. I'm like quite a quick player and I can do a lot. Like that was one of my strengths early on, and I mean, I have had to resort to changing my style. But is it what I hope for? I actually love StarCraft 2 as it is. Would I like change? I welcome change. Will I necessarily hate it? No. Will I love it? I don't know. I like honestly don't know. StarCraft 2 for me is such a like good game to play. I just want to be the best at it that I can possibly be. And yeah, any change that happens, I don't see it for worse or for better. I'm just gonna play it.
All right. Thank you for the interview, and it was a pleasure.
Can I do some shout-outs?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, some shout-outs. So thank you to Team EG and its sponsors. That is Raid Call, our new title sponsor. Check them out. Intel, Monster, SteelSeries, Kingston, Beyond Gaming, Sapphire, and Inwin. You've all been great. Thank you very much. People saying that EG is a frat house. I'll prove them wrong. And yeah, keep on supporting EG. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thanks.